Have you ever looked up at the stars and wondered if we're truly alone? What if I told you that ancient civilizations might hold the key to a story far grander than we've ever imagined? Welcome to Mythos and Beyond. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and controversial topics in ancient history, the Anunnaki. So who were the Anunnaki? The name itself comes from ancient Sumerian texts, the earliest known written language. In these texts, they are described as a group of deities, powerful beings who descended from the heavens. The word Anunnaki can be translated as those who from heaven to earth came. These weren't just minor spirits. They were the heavy hitters of the Mesopotamian pantheon, figures like Enlil, the god of air, and Enki, the god of water and wisdom. For thousands of years, people in Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq, worshipped them, built massive temples called ziggurats in their honor, and told epic stories about their deeds. These stories are preserved on thousands of clay tablets, painstakingly inscribed with cuneiform script. The most famous of these is the Epic of Gilgamesh, but there are many others, like the Enuma Elish, the Babylonian creation myth. In these tales, the Anunnaki are portrayed as beings with very human-like qualities. They love, they fight, they have rivalries, and they make big, often world-altering decisions. They were seen as the creators of humanity, the givers of laws, and the arbiters of fate. For the ancient Sumerians, Akkadians, and Babylonians, the Anunnaki were as real as the rivers Tigris and Euphrates. Now, this is where the story takes a sharp turn from ancient mythology to modern theory. In the 20th century, a writer named Zecharia Sitchin published a series of books. Starting with The 12th Planet, Sitchin proposed a radical interpretation of these ancient texts. He claimed that the Anunnaki were not gods in the mythological sense, but actual extraterrestrial beings from a yet undiscovered planet in our solar system called Nibiru. According to Sitchin's theory, Nibiru has a long elliptical orbit that brings it close to Earth every 3,600 years. About 450,000 years ago, the inhabitants of Nibiru, the Anunnaki, faced a crisis. Their home planet's atmosphere was deteriorating, and they needed gold to create a protective shield of fine gold dust to save it. So they journeyed to Earth, which they found to be rich in this precious metal. They set up their base of operations in southern Mesopotamia, establishing their first settlement, Eridu. For thousands of years, the Anunnaki themselves toiled in the mines, primarily in southern Africa. But the work was grueling, and eventually, the working-class Anunnaki rebelled against their leaders. This is a key moment in the story. To solve this labor dispute, the chief scientist, Enki, proposed a solution: create a primitive worker to do the mining for them. And how did they do this? Sitchin interprets the texts to mean they took the existing hominids on Earth, early humans, and genetically engineered them by mixing their own Anunnaki DNA with that of Homo erectus. The result was a new being, Homo sapiens, or as the Sumerian texts call them, the Adamu. This new race of humans was created to be slaves, to mine the gold and serve the Anunnaki in every way. This, Sitchin argues, explains the sudden and mysterious leap in human evolution, the missing link that has puzzled scientists for so long. Sitchin's narrative continues, detailing the complex relationships between the Anunnaki leaders, the half-brothers Enlil and Enki, and their ongoing rivalries. He suggests that many stories in the Bible, like the creation of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, which he identifies as an Anunnaki enclosure in Mesopotamia, and the Great Flood, are actually retellings of events involving these extraterrestrial visitors. The biblical flood, for instance, is seen as a parallel to a story in the Epic of Gilgamesh, where the gods decide to wipe out humanity with a deluge. In Sitchin's version, Enlil was fed up with the noise and chaos of the growing human population, while Enki, humanity's co-creator, secretly warned a loyal human named Utnapishtim, the original Noah, to build a boat and save himself. This ancient astronaut theory has captured the imagination of millions. It offers a single, grand narrative that seems to tie together countless mysteries: the origins of civilization, the construction of megalithic structures like Stonehenge and the pyramids, our sudden evolutionary jump, and the uncanny similarities in myths from cultures all around the world. Could it be that all our ancient gods were just misunderstood flesh and blood visitors from another world? It's a captivating idea. But it's important to state clearly that mainstream historians, archaeologists, and scientists overwhelmingly reject Sitchin's theories. The academic consensus is that his work is pseudoscience. Scholars who specialize in Sumerian and Akkadian languages argue that Sitchin's translations are flawed and often twisted to fit his preconceived narrative. They point out that he takes words and passages out of context to build his story. For example, the Sumerian tablets speak of gods in the heavens, but this is a common theme in nearly all religions and doesn't necessarily imply space travel. The heavens could simply mean a celestial spiritual realm, not outer space. Furthermore, there is no physical evidence to support the existence of a planet like Nibiru. Astronomers have scoured the skies for decades, and while we found new dwarf planets far out in the Kuiper Belt, nothing matching the description of a massive planet with a 3,600-year orbit has ever been detected. If such a planet existed, its gravitational pull would have noticeable effects on the orbits of other planets in our solar system, and we just don't see that. There's also the geological and genetic evidence to consider. The scientific explanation for humanity's origin is evolution through natural selection over millions of years, a process supported by a vast and growing body of fossil and DNA evidence. The idea that we were genetically engineered 450,000 years ago doesn't align with the current scientific understanding of our own genetic history. Similarly, the claim that the Anunnaki came here to mine gold is problematic. While gold is precious to us, there's no scientific basis for using it to repair a planet's atmosphere. So, where does that leave us? We have two very different stories. On one hand, we have the academic view. The Anunnaki were the central deities in the rich and complex mythology of ancient Mesopotamia, created by humans to explain the world around them, much like the Greek or Norse gods. They were powerful metaphors for the forces of nature and the complexities of human society. On the other hand, we have the ancient astronaut theory, a modern reinterpretation that paints the Anunnaki as extraterrestrial colonists who engineered our species and shaped our destiny. It's a story that taps into our deep-seated desire for answers, for a grander purpose, and for a connection to something beyond our world. Ultimately, what you choose to believe is up to you. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in the middle, a blend of myth and the forgotten history we're only just beginning to piece together. Maybe the Sumerians were trying to describe something they witnessed, but lacked the vocabulary to explain properly. Or maybe they were simply gifted storytellers, weaving tales that have echoed through millennia. The enduring legacy of the Anunnaki is a testament to the power of stories. Whether they were gods, aliens, or simply figures of myth, they force us to ask big questions about who we are and where we come from. They challenge us to look at our most ancient texts, not just as dusty relics, but as potential windows into a past far more strange and wonderful than we can imagine. What do you think? Were the Anunnaki gods, astronauts, or something else entirely? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the ancient past. If you enjoyed this exploration of mysteries, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history, mythology, and the unexplained. We'll see you in the next video.